This is Heidi, and you're tuning in to another episode of DFW Spotlight on Business. Yay! It's been a whirlwind Wednesday. I've enjoyed it. We've had a little bit of rainy weather here in DFW area, and when I say a little bit, it's just been raining all day, so traffic's been a little challenging. For those of you who are just tuning in, thank you. And we have a guest in studio, Edward Jospeh. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. It's exciting.
Yeah, we're really excited. I love the topic. Oh my gosh, I'm going to dig right into this topic. But before we get started, I do a couple of things. A little bit of housekeeping. Make sure that I introduce myself for those people who haven't met me yet. My name is Heidi, and I am a professional here in DFW. Just fascinated with small business owners of all sizes, but small to medium-sized businesses are really my passion. And one thing that I enjoy doing is bringing value to the businesses in the DFW community. So that's what this show is about, is the opportunity to bring information, to bring special guests and value to the DFW business community. One way that I'm able to do that is I have a fantastic employer, and that is Insperity. Thank you, Insperity, for being supportive to this show and supporting me in this endeavor. What Insperity does is they are an HR, payroll, and employee health benefits outsourcing solutions company. And I include employee health benefits because that is a big hot topic today, especially towards this end of the year. A lot of companies are having to enroll or renew, and they're questioning these huge hikes in employee health care. And so one of the things that we do, and I do specifically as a business advisor, is just sit down with you for 30 minutes. Let's talk about it. Do you have an outrageous amount of money that you're going to have to fork over for employee health care benefits? And if you do, is there another alternative? I'd be happy and delighted to sit down to talk to you about that. You can catch me at 972-409-4327 or email me. It's heidi.hardy@insperity.com. So thank you again, Insperity. And insperity.com is a wonderful website with a lot of great content for those business owners that have questions about HR, have questions about employee benefits. So you'll find just a lot of great information. So thank you, Insperity. And this broadcast is being produced and sponsored by Real Life Media. And Real Life Media has partnered with a company called the Ritchie Company. And the Ritchie Company is a 30-year company serving DFW with promotional products. And so Real Life Media and the Ritchie Company are partnering to do that for the small to medium-sized business owner here in DFW. So lots of business going on. We do business in DFW, and business is good. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, let's get kicked into what we call Real Life DFW in the Know. If you are watching us on Facebook, thank you. That means either you're on my Facebook page or DFW Spotlight on Business page. Please go there and like us and give us a rating. It helps. It just helps bring support to our show and to what we do. Also, Twitter is Heidi_Hardy, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a big, something that I've been using a lot lately. And if you're not using LinkedIn for business, I would say to sort of give it another shot. Okay, Ed, you're being very quiet there. Almost like you want to make sure I'm engaging you.
I haven't fallen asleep yet.
You haven't hypnotized. You're not hypnotized. No, we are super excited. The topic today is success. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at my silliness. Business success is in the mind. That's our topic. And so I am honored that you're here with us. Let me tell the audience that how we met, and then maybe you'll also give your point of view of what's going on here in DFW. I tend to visit a lot of networking meetings, and when I say that, probably 3 times a week, I'm at some networking group meeting, and some of them are they're all really great groups of people. But usually I meet 1 or 2 people in those meetings that I connect with professionally. And when that happens, there's an amazing opportunity to do business together or hear more and help each other in their businesses. So that was one way that we met each other, was at a networking group here locally. Mm-hmm. And so I met Ed, and he invited me to his the Mind Enhancement Center. We'll talk more about his company and what they do. But he invited me over there, and I just was amazed at all the conversation that we had and information that I gathered. So is that what you remember in our meeting?
Yes, I did. And what I enjoyed most, really, is when I told you what I did, you didn't take a step back and look down so that you didn't have to look me in the eyes. For some reason, when you tell people that you're a hypnotist, they think just looking in your eyes is going to put them in a trance or something. So many women, honestly, they'll take a step back and they'll look down so they don't have to look in my eyes.
You know, that's so interesting, and we'll talk more about that. But I think there can be a negative connotation to hypnotism. Some people think of a comedian on stage making people cluck like chickens and bark like dogs, and that's not at all what we're talking about.
Strictly Hollywood.
Absolutely. And so it gets a bad rap in that sense. But I have met, Ed's actually the second hypnotist that I've worked with and met, and both highly professional, effective, and absolutely knows their work. It's amazing. It's an amazing experience. So don't go away, because you're going to want to hear and get to know Ed Jospeh. One of the things I do, Ed, is there's a segment at the beginning of every show, and what it does really is it helps me share some content with our listeners, and it also helps us sort of interact and get into the groove with the conversation. So I'm going to talk about the segment. It's called DFW Spotlight on Business in the Know. And I did share this with you in an email. So if you remember, what I normally do is I go to Google, and I look for some kind of article that is relevant to our topic, and our topic today is business successes in the mind. So this is from www. I don't even have to say that anymore, but I like saying it. And entrepreneur.com, and it's a great article. 10 mindsets that will radically improve your business. And I thought, so I read the article. It's not very long. It's a blog. It's not very long. But I was I was intrigued by these 10 mindsets that this author wrote down. So if you don't mind, I'd like to sort of read a couple and see what your thoughts are. Does this affect the business owner, and is this legitimate information? Again, you can go to entrepreneur.com magazine and put 10 mindsets that will radically improve your business. You can find this blog. But the first one, Ed, is choose courage over fear. Now, we're talking about mindsets. We're talking about the business owner. Her very first one is, if you're a business owner, choose courage over fear. What do you think she means by that?
Well, basically, you have to have the courage to go forward to accomplish your goals. If you have a fear about that, you're not going anyplace. You're going to stay put, or you're going to start to decline. All right? And you can say that about anything. You have to have courage to go forward. That's what motivates people to do better than what they're doing, is they have the courage to put forth the energy that they need to be successful.
Right. I would completely agree. This one says believe in yourself. Number 2, is that important to the business owner?
Without a doubt. If you don't believe in yourself, who do you believe in?
Right.
All right. You have to believe that you can do the job. You have to believe that you have the skills to accomplish whatever you want to accomplish. And that's a problem that some people have, is they just don't believe in themselves, and they don't believe that they do have the skills that they need. And for whatever reason, could be something that was said to them, done to them when they were younger, where someone said, "Oh, you'll never get ahead in life.
You're no good at math."
Yep.
You know, that's a very common one.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, you know, you're an adult and you really do stink at math.
Mm-hmm.
It's in here. Okay, so number 3 is choose good company. And I think what she meant by that, this is my interpretation, of course I read the article, but is that surround yourself with other successful or positive people.
Yes. If you deal with negative people, it's going to rub off on you. And before you realize it, you'll be thinking in a negative term.
Right.
All right. If you surround yourself with positive people, you got to think positively about things.
Well, there's a philosophy or theory that you are a compilation of the 6 people you surround yourself with, the 6 immediate people that you surround yourself with. Right. So really think about that. I definitely know my spouse is you know, with me a lot, thank goodness, and we feed off each other's energy, and so it's really important that we're on the same energy, you know, plane. Okay, number 4 is adopt self-chosen goals. Self-chosen goals. What do you think she means by that from a mindset?
Well, just what do you want to accomplish? In other words, if you don't choose your goals, if you don't say, I want to accomplish X, they're not going to accomplish X. You're going to be doing something other than. So you establish the goals that you want, and then you put forth the energy to make it a success.
Right, right. Okay, well, I'm just going to read number 5, and then I'll read through the rest. But this one I thought it sounds so rudimentary. Well, of course we're supposed to do these things. But I think when you get into being a business owner or a leader in a business, these things aren't necessarily natural gifts. There's things to put your mind towards. So this one is have a purpose and a vision.
Well, my purpose is to help people, and my vision is to do it as quickly and as easily as possible. Because with what I do, if you can do something easily and simply, it's going to work better. If you make something too complicated, then people are not going to want to do it.
I completely agree with that. I think purpose and vision is again, it sounds very, very simple, but sometimes I've seen and experienced business owners who tend to take on the vision of someone else, or, you know, feel like something from their past is driving this purpose, and instead of their own personal purpose. So I would completely agree. Well, 6 is accept the challenge. 7 is be discerning. 8 is be willing to take risks. 9, do what you love. And 10 is gratitude. Now here I have a problem with number 9. Do what you love.
You have to do it. You've heard it a number of times.
I know.
If
Everybody
you
says
love
it.
what you do, you'll never be working.
I know, but I think I absolutely believe that. Don't get me wrong, but there are so many people that are working, you know, been working at Lockheed for 30 years and punching in and punching out, and they're not.
They hate it.
They do. They hate it, but they're doing it because it's a necessary way for them to support their family. And
Right.
so, I think mindset-wise, if you're a business owner and you're going to buy a business, so I'm a perfect example. I bought an insurance agency. I hate insurance. I'm not trying to offend anybody out there. I love my insurance and my insurance providers. It's just, it was, you know, not my thing. I didn't get excited about insurance. So it wasn't a good fit for me from a passion standpoint. And I would agree with that, except I know there are some people that are frustrated with, they're not doing what they love, but they're still doing what they have to.
I had a business I had a burglar alarm company.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I did all the work for Sears in the entire Metroplex. So it was rather successful.
Yes.
I learned hypnosis, and I realized how you can help people very, very quickly with hypnosis. So I thought, you can do two things. Make a lot of money, help people. I thought, well, I think at this point in my life, I'd like to help people. So I came home from work one day and I said to my wife, I said, sweetie, what would you think about selling the company? She said, if that's what you want to do, we can do it. She said, but I know you. You don't play golf. You don't fish. What are you going to do all day? I said, well, I wasn't going to retire. She said, if you're not going to retire, what do you want to sell the company for? I said, well, I'd like to do hypnosis full time. She looked at me. She said, are you serious? And I said, yes. She just looked at me again. She said, let's do it.
What a wonderful partner.
We sold the company, took a year off, played, traveled, did what we wanted to do. Then we started working.
That sounds like the best, next part of your life story. And what take a year off. That's awesome too. Well, good for you guys.
We were just having fun because we knew we were going to start on a new endeavor.
Yeah.
And it's just something we wanted to do.
Well, we're coming close to our first break, and what I want to do while I'm doing this is just read your bio. I loved it. I think it's short and succinct and does describe you. And then we're going to go to our break, and then we're going to come back and get to know you and what you do every day. Okay. Edward Jospeh grew up in New York and served in the military for 17 years before relocating to Texas, spending the last 40 plus years working and raising a family in the DFW area. He has owned and operated successful local businesses for over 40 of those years. Edward has been practicing hypnosis since the early 90s and learned about emotional freedom techniques, EFT, in 1996 at a hypnosis conference in Denver and became a devoted practitioner shortly thereafter. He successfully combines EFT with hypnosis in his daily practice to help thousands of individuals achieve rapid, lasting positive changes mentally, physically, and emotionally. Mr. Jospeh specializes in helping people eliminate stress, trauma, grief, fears, using techniques that are much different than traditional therapies. Traditional therapies can take months or years to eliminate or control emotional issues and problems. Using EFT, problems can be solved sometimes within minutes, which is amazing. And once learned, these techniques can be used anytime. There you go.
Sounds good to me.
Oh my gosh,
I'm impressed.
Well, I'm impressed. I'm glad you're impressed with. But I'm very excited because we're going to talk about this. So you're watching DFW Spotlight on Business with Heidi Hardy, and our first break is now, and we'll be right back.
Hi, welcome to today's Biz Moment, brought to you by Insperity, inspiring business performance. Today's topic, time management tips for business leaders, busy business leaders. And number one is handwrite a to-do list every morning, and that means with a pen and paper. And take the most important 3 to 5 tasks that come to your mind. Break it down to the task level, not the full project, and give yourself clear deadlines. And then you get to check them off, and it is so gratifying. Tip number 2. This seems counterintuitive, but it's okay to unplug. Don't be an email robot. I love any chance to be the robot, so I'm doing it. Set regular times for reading and replying to messages, and resist the temptation to respond to the emails as soon as they hit your inbox, especially if it's after hours. Number 3, calendars are key. That's why I'm here right now, because a calendar on my phone was like, hey, you need to be there to film Biz Moment. So I said, okay, here I am. But get in sync with a master calendar you can access from all of your devices, because we all have at least a few these days. Even if you're one of the miraculous geniuses that can keep everything straight in your head, do it anyway, because saving your mental space for more important tasks can help you also keep from double booking yourself. Number 4, book all of your meetings back to back. Set your meetings up all in a pretty little row so that the rest of your workday is left in one solid chunk. It's difficult to concentrate on something when you're always anticipating the next appointment. And you're less likely to produce your best work if you constantly have to put it down to go to a meeting. If you book all of them together, it'll leave you with plenty of time to concentrate and get in your groove. So, get in your groove, and then stay tuned for more Insperity Biz Moments, business tips for savvy leaders. And for more like these, visit the Insperity blog at insperity.com.
Welcome back. This is Heidi Hardy. You are watching DFW Spotlight on Business with Heidi Hardy, and my guest today is Mr. Edward Jospeh. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
We had a pretty good little conversation at the beginning of the show. I introduced Ed and what he does. He is, I guess to break it down simply, he is a hypnotist, and he practices here in DFW. Your office is in Hearst?
Yes.
Right by the Northeast Mall, and easy to find, easy to get to. Very good location.
Been in that building for almost 40 years.
Really?
Yes.
Well, your landlord must love you.
He sends me a personal card every year.
Oh, how nice. Well, again, welcome. One of the things that we did talk about, the topic today is business success is in your mind. And we are talking about business owners, business leaders who may be standing in their own way, blocking their own success with mindsets that aren't helping them. So, Ed, I introduce you. Tell us what you do, and help us connect to you in your career.
Basically, what I do is I use a combination of EFT, which is emotional freedom techniques, and hypnosis. Emotional freedom techniques, EFT, works on the body's energy system. As an example, if I asked you to close your eyes, think about something extremely stressful, tell me what happens to your body, most people will have tension, stress, anything, rapid heartbeat, and the only thing that's wrong is the energy system, the body's reversed. All energy has a positive and a negative. So if you thought of an incident that occurred last week, 10 years ago, and you had tension, it means where your body should have been positive, it became negative. Where it should have been negative, it became positive. Your body actually shorted out. So if you go back and think about all the stress that you've had in your life, you're going to have an awful lot of different reactions. By physically tapping on certain energy points on the body and reciting certain words and phrases directly related to that problem or issue, it neutralizes it so that the body is positive, which should be positive, negative, which should be negative. You can close your eyes, think of exactly the same thing. And many times you can't even bring up the thought, it just won't come back. But if it does, you're going to be nice and calm and nice and relaxed. So what I have my clients do before they come in, I have them sit down in a home, make a list of all the negative issues that they have that they want to eliminate. Bring it in. We physically tap them away. So at the physical level, all of the tension, stress, fears, whatever they have is gone. After that, we go into hypnosis. Now, hypnosis is nothing like you see in the movies, TV, comedy theaters, or anything like that.
It's had a bad rap. I know.
Hypnosis is only a state of relaxation. That's all it is. You're not asleep, you're not unconscious, you're not in a trance. You're just very, very relaxed. So what I do is I guide people in to a very relaxed state. Now, there's no special feeling to hypnosis other than feeling relaxed. I've been doing this for 23 years, and I surprise everybody when I tell them that after 23 years as a hypnotist, I've never hypnotized anybody yet. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So if you came to my office and for whatever reason you did not want to go into hypnosis, there's nothing I can do to put you into hypnosis. So,
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you because I just had this burning question. So when we think about hypnosis, we think about, a watch going back and forth
Yes.
and watching it and falling asleep and all of a sudden your brain is susceptible to the hypnotist's suggestion. What you're saying is that is absolutely a myth and false.
true.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, the reason for the watch, okay, it's not to hypnotize you. It's to get your eyes tired so that you'll want to close your eyes. And after you get your eyes closed, then they give you suggestions to relax and to go into this state. But when you're in a hypnotic state, you don't have to follow any instructions if you don't want to. If I could go, poof, you're hypnotized, and I give you a suggestion that you don't like, you don't have to accept that suggestion. Just because you're in hypnosis doesn't mean you're going to do what I tell you to do. So if you come in with some problems and issues, I can give you any number of suggestions to resolve those problems and issues, and you will accept them. Why? That's why you're there.
Right. Well, tell us about the Mind Center. Give us, the Mind Enhancement Center, your business, and give us you gave us some history that you had a business, a very successful business. You sold it. You decided to go into hypnosis full time to help people. How long ago was that?
23 years ago.
Okay. So you got a little time behind you? Just a little experience, which is fantastic. What was the biggest hurdle when you started that business? 23 years ago, were people open to this? I mean, it was, I guess, 1996, right?
No. People, even today, they're not open to it for the simple reason that they have all these visualizations in their own mind about being under the control of the hypnotist.
Right.
The hypnotist has absolutely no control over you at all, because at any time during the session, if you choose to come out of hypnosis, just open up your eyes and you're at hypnosis. See, people have the misconception because they may go to a stage show, a comedy theater, and watch the stage hypnotist make people do all those silly, foolish things. But there's a little trick the way they get them to do that.
Okay, I need to know that trick.
Okay, the trick is that the hypnotist will always ask for volunteers. He will never choose people out of the audience himself for two reasons. One, he's allowed to choose you and you don't want to be hypnotized. If you don't want to be hypnotized, there's no way for him to hypnotize you. Two, you'll have to be very quiet, conservative, and reserved. You're not going to go up on that stage to do silly, foolish things so people will laugh at you. So the only people that will volunteer to go up on that stage are extroverts. They like to go out, they like to have fun, they like to do silly, foolish things. And these shows are always performed in comedy theaters.
Okay.
What do they serve in comedy theaters?
A little bit of alcohol.
Just a little bit of alcohol.
I think it's like a 3-drink
So-
minimum or something.
So if you have 2-3 drinks, do you really care what you do on that stage? Most often not.
If it's gin, yeah, I'm out.
Okay. As long as you don't ask them to do something that violates their moral beliefs or their religious beliefs, they will do it. But the people in the audience believes that the hypnotist has control over them. Otherwise, they'd never do those silly things. The greatest majority of the people that volunteer to go up there would do exactly the same thing, even if they weren't hypnotized. That's their personality.
Yeah, no, that makes complete and total sense to me. That again, it's a mindset, and as we relate it to a business owner or a business, what we're talking about here is what mindset is a business owner in a majority of the time. I talk to dozens and dozens. I talked to one this morning, business owners, and I enjoy them. I enjoy their stories. oftentimes I can identify that whether they're succeeding in their sense and definition of success, or struggling in their definition of that. You hear it in the words they use, phrases. Just you can hear it from them using if just listening. Sometimes you can hear it. So that's part of my suggestion as well. The thinking of what I heard you say just now is, well, those people thought they were going to get up on the stage. They thought they were going to be silly. And so therefore that thought turned into an action. And that relates to the business owner as well. If they're thinking they're succeeding or thinking they're failing at something, they're right one way or the other.
But you also have to realize that as a business owner, each individual business owner should have a fairly good idea if he's being successful or not. All right. If sales are way down, something is wrong. Now, is something wrong with the business owner, or is something wrong with the sales people that he has working for him? And what is he going to do to correct it? All right. You can have a dozen business owners. Each and every one of them is selling widgets. One company is extremely successful, and most of the other companies are not successful. Why? It could be how he motivates his salespeople to go out and sell that widget. Mm. The other companies may be saying, you've got the same widget everyone else has, so you should be able to go out and sell it. Well, that's not necessarily true, because you can have the same product, but you have to think about the salespeople who are attempting to sell that widget. It depends on their attitude. It depends on how they feel about the widget. If I was selling widgets, I would convince you that this is the best widget on the market. Now, you can have another 100 widgets that look exactly like this, but they don't do exactly the same thing. Mm-hmm. So basically, you have to have good product knowledge. You have to have a good positive attitude. And you yourself as a salesperson must want to succeed. Mm. And by wanting to succeed, you'll be successful.
Well, I will agree and respectfully disagree, because I don't think there's a salesperson alive that wants to fail. I just, consciously wants to fail. In fact, I'm in sales, I'm in business development, and every day my focus is, how am I going to build this business for my employer? So there's even a deeper reason why some people are failing or succeeding when it comes to mindset. Where I want to go back to is the Mind Enhancement Center's journey from you. I have a mentor, and I just adore him, and I call him probably every other year. We don't talk a lot, but when we do talk, it's very profound. And he once said, Heidi, I've retired 6 times. Young guy. I mean, I think he's in his late 40s or something, young guy. And, I kind of sat there and asked him, well, what does that mean? He said, I've started businesses, closed businesses, sold businesses. He said about 6 times, and I'm loving what I'm doing now. So, it isn't necessarily the end of something, as you described it. Mm-hmm. It was beginning something new. So that those first few years where you were having to go in and tell people, I'm changing your mindset for your own success. What was that? What did that feel like?
To me, it felt very, very good. It felt good because I knew that I had the ability to make that person a better person, regardless of what they were doing. If it was for work or personal reasons, I knew that I had the talent and the expertise to have them change. Now, when you say that no salesperson wants to fail, mm-hmm. well, now you'd be surprised. I've had salespeople, I've had people in business come to me, and they had a blockage. They couldn't get past that blockage to be more successful. And many times, it's because a parent was not successful, and they felt guilty being more successful than their parents.
Oh, this gets deep. Yeah, no, I agree. There's a subconscious reason for some people to try harder or not try hard enough. And it's interesting that you mentioned salespeople, because we're talking about business owners, but we're also talking about salespeople. You know, a salesperson could really use your expertise.
Right.
We have, I think we have about a minute. I'm going to hold it here, because one of the things that I'd like you to do is tell us what that expertise is. What does it take to become a hypnotist? And then this is going to be the last break that we have, so we'll have more time to really dig into the Mind Enhancement Center. If you haven't already, go to the mindenhancementcenter.com.
Right.
You'll get some information there. I would say the best way to learn more about this, if you're a salesperson and you're thinking, man, I got a blockage. I got the Great Wall of China blockage. To contact Ed, and what's that number at your office?
817-589-7407.
Okay. So get on the phone or get online and check out the Mind Enhancement Center. This is Heidi Hardy. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about what is the criteria for becoming a hypnotist. What expertise do you need? And we're going to really dig into some stories of success that Ed has had. So this is Heidi Hardy. You're watching DFW Spotlight on Business, and we'll be right back.
Welcome to today's Biz Moment, brought to you by Insperity, inspiring business performance. Today's topic, company policies, specifically ones that are more likely to become important in an update of your employee handbook after your company has grown. Number 1, dress code policy. Employees know exactly what is and isn't acceptable, and managers can maintain a consistent approach with staff. However, make sure it's written so that everyone gets treated the same. This is important. And remember that in some cases, religious accommodations may apply. Number 2, an employee dating policy. To avoid getting into awkward territory here, a written policy can be helpful for setting boundaries and guidelines, which, as we all know, are important in the dating world. When writing the policy, remember that the goal should not be to control employees' personal lives or to inhibit employee interaction, but to avoid misunderstandings, conflicts of interest, complaints of favoritism, negative employee morale, and potential claims of sexual harassment. Number 3, a flexible work arrangement policy. Consider what types of job flexibility will be addressed. It could be telecommuting, compressed work weeks, or flex time. Who is or isn't eligible? What is the process for employees to get official approval? Number 4, a gifts and favors policy. This covers agreements with vendors, customers, and or potential employees. You don't want them to buy their way into the job. What kinds of courtesy gifts and favors are okay to accept, and where do you draw those lines? Whatever they may be, make sure you include information that covers the maximum acceptable market value of those gifts as well. Number 5, employee complaint resolution policy. With something in writing, you'll make sure that employees have a constructive way to voice their concerns, as well as a defense against potential lawsuits or regulatory charges. A good policy would identify key points of contact, outline steps employees take prior to filling out a complaint, and explain how these complaints are investigated and handled. Transparency is very important here. Stay tuned for more Insperity Biz Moments, business tips for savvy leaders. And for more like these, you can visit the Insperity blog at insperity.com.
And we're back. This is Heidi Hardy. I have to say, I always check out the Facebook and the Twitter account, and I want to say hello to Brian Bingham. Thank you for sharing the show and being a part of the show. And Annabella, she's, I just met her at a networking event, and she's just got this dynamic personality. I really appreciate her. So thank you for watching and being a part of our show today. Lots of good comments. Good show, interesting. One great comment came and it said that your voice is so calming.
People have told me that all the time, but to me, it's just my voice. I mean, when I was younger, when I was in the Army, I was an airborne ranger, and we did a lot of yelling, a lot of shouting, a lot of hoo-ha-ha. You can't do that as a hypnotist. You have to be nice and calm and nice and relaxed, because there's no way for me to get you to relax. If I'm sitting there next to you and I'm rip-roaring to go, that's not going to get someone in a conducive mood. So I've learned to tone it down quite a bit.
Well, and what a great segment, because right before we took that break, we promised that we would talk about how you've learned to become a hypnotist. Now, I find it interesting that you had to even change a little personality from your Army days, being a little more louder and gregarious, to being a calming presence. I think that says a lot about your commitment, dedication to your craft or your talents. What do you have to do to become a hypnotist? I'm just dying to know.
You just want to be a hypnotist. Okay, that's what you have to do. If you make a determination that this is what you'd like to do, then there are different organizations in the country that will have professionals teach you. I'm a member of the National Guild of Hypnotists, which is the largest hypnosis organization in the world. And they have conventions every year. It's a 3-day convention. When you leave there, your head is ready to explode.
Oh, I bet.
Because there's so much to be learned. You feel that you have to take it all in. You can't miss a thing.
Yeah.
But after going to the convention about 5 times, my wife and I, because my wife Brenda does the same thing I do, you think you can't do that, because, as I said, your head is ready to explode. There's so much that you can learn, so much that you can do. You don't want to miss anything. But by the time you're finished, you need a week off to recover.
Yeah.
So all you have to do really is you want to just make up your mind, this is what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then you find the instructors that will help you do what you want to do. Now, what can you do with hypnosis? You can do just about anything. All right? Brenda and I have taken a specialty course on how to help stroke victims overcome some of the physical problems that they had that was caused by stroke. This takes special learning. You can't hypnotize somebody the same way you would an average person.
Right.
You have to go deeper in a different way, because you have to rewire the brain to get changes made. But basically, you just want to be able to help people. That's the big thing.
Okay.
I never thought when I first started out, that, gee, I'm going to really love what I'm doing. The way I got into hypnosis is this. My wife and I, we met in the building that we office out of.
Okay.
All right. And we had so much in common that we believed that we were soulmates. Now, I don't know what your belief is. Some people say, well, no such thing. But we happen to
I'm married to my soulmate. He's fabulous. I get it.
We believe that we were soulmates. So we wanted to study hypnosis to see if we could find each other in a previous life. Well, we studied hypnosis. We hypnotized each other twice, took each other back to previous lives, but we didn't find each other. So I called my hypnosis instructor, wanted to know what we can do to find each other. He said, the first thing you do is stop hypnotizing each other. Go to a different hypnotist. Go to a different hypnotist. Well, we didn't want to do that. But the thing is that we loved hypnosis so much, because once you learn it, your friends say, well, can you do this? Sure. Okay. Help me with this and help me with that. And before we realized it, we were helping our friends do all these changes.
Sure.
So that's when I fell in love with it. And I thought, wow, you can help people. And so quickly. The beautiful part of hypnosis in EFT is that you don't have to wait and see if the change occurred. The change is instantaneous. And that's what I love about it.
Yeah. Well, I have a colleague and friend, and she, I've taken some sessions with her. Her name is Danny Abbey, and she uses neuro-linguistic programming.
NLP.
NLP. The experience was pleasant and helpful as it was with you as well. I just want to make sure. I think from a business standpoint, I think people might get the wrong idea that this is hocus pocus or something not to be taken seriously. We're really talking about your brain. And I don't know that I bought in, maybe 5 years ago, I don't think I bought into that your brain can change. That you personally have the power to change your brain. But I've studied on that. I've done it. I know it can be done. And that's what we're talking about from the hypnotist standpoint, is you walk people through an exercise where they're changing their thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you do it in a way that is non-threatening, very calming, and it helps them to sort of relax, to be open to that. Is that correct?
Correct. Let's say for discussion purposes that you have a lot of stress at work. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, to show you just how good a hypnotist I am, poof, you hypnotized, okay? So now while you're in hypnosis, I'm going to say to you, you have this stress at work. Would you like to release and let go of that stress? If so, say yes. If not, say no. That's why they're here. Yes. So I would say to them, at this time, think about all the negative issues you have at work that cause you to have the stress, and release them all and let them go from your mind, your body, and your spirit. And when you've released them all and let them go, just say gone. Well, in just a few seconds, they're going to say gone. And then I will say, now I want you to see yourself, imagine yourself, picture yourself at work. Nice and calm, nice and relaxed. Think about all the issues that cause you to have stress, and realize now that those issues are very calming to you, and you no longer find it necessary to get stressed over them. So anytime any of these issues ever return, you will always be calm and relaxed. And then I would say to them, I want you to see yourself, imagine yourself, picture yourself, going day after day, day after day, day after day, being very calm at work, free of all stress and tension. And when you can see yourself doing that, just say yes. If you can't, say no. Because when you're in hypnosis, you can carry on a full-blown conversation with somebody.
Right.
So they will say yes. Step 2.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm very calm right now. I was doing this a moment ago. But no. It works.
Yeah,
it does.
Then I would say, now again, I want you to see yourself going day after day, day after day, day after day, week after week, week after week, week after week, being very calm and very relaxed at work, where all those stress issues no longer bother you. And when you can see yourself doing that, just say yes. If you can't, say no. Yes. And then I go and do the same thing for days, weeks, and months.
Right.
So that we're projecting this into the future. So it's not just today that they're very calm and relaxed. They can see themselves being calm and relaxed for days, weeks, and months in advance.
Right. Right. I'm a fan. I've been hypnotized, and I have tons of questions that I think people are going to have. But I wanted to give you some time to share a couple of success stories. You had some great stories when we met. Really good. And if you don't mind, if you can, the business sense of it, if you have some business owners or salespeople that you've worked with, that would be great.
I want to tell you one before I get into the business. I want to tell you one about a psychotherapist that came to me.
Okay.
Okay. And she came to me for a free consultation. She's been a psychotherapist for 35 years. And she says that I cannot resolve my own problems. I'm in an office with 3 gentlemen, each of which have more than 25 years experience as psychotherapists. They cannot help me. And I've tried everything. And I said, well, you haven't tried me yet. That's why I'm here talking to you. And she's telling me all these things that she's done. And again, she says, well, I've tried everything. No, you haven't tried me yet. And this went on for about 15 minutes. So finally I said, after about the fifth or sixth time, that's right, but you haven't tried me yet. I'll try you. So she set an appointment. She came in. It took about 2.5 hours. I resolved every problem and issue that she had. When I brought her out of hypnosis, I asked her how she felt and how she feels about the issues. She says, well, they're all gone. And I said, good, that's the way it's supposed to work. Then she says to me, well, how much medical training do you have? And I said, well, I don't have any medical training. I said, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I do. I said, before I went to Vietnam, they told me if I get shot to take out my bandage and try to stop the bleeding. That does not make me a brain surgeon. She said, you don't have any medical training at all? I said, no, ma'am. She says, well, why are you successful and I couldn't be successful? I said, that's easy. We do things differently.
Yeah.
See, when you deal with therapists, they deal with your conscious mind.
That's right. The surface.
Okay. They deal with the conscious mind. Every problem that everybody has is not in the conscious mind. It's in the subconscious mind. And I deal with the subconscious mind.
Yes. Yes, I completely agree with that, and can attest that simply telling yourself you're not stressed out, or simply having somebody else tell you, hey, calm down, don't be stressed out, isn't effective.
No.
There is a motivation internally, and what we're talking about today is how to be successful in business by using your mind, and or using ed services, so that whatever it is that is creating the blocks that you have, and you're not moving forward for whatever reason, you can take a look at it. Now, I have to say, I know that you're the conduit. You're not actually doing the work. The person's doing the work.
We do it together.
Okay.
With EFT.
Okay.
Which is the tapping. We do it together.
Okay. When they're being hypnotized, you're making the suggestions, and they're pulling these memories out. They're pulling these things out themselves.
Correct.
Okay.
See, many times you can have a blockage and you just cannot figure out what it is. You cannot say, okay, this is the reason I'm failing to do what I need to do to be successful.
Right.
So once again, poof, you're hypnotized. And I would say to you, I want you to go back in time to the earliest time that you need to go back into your life, to the very first incident that occurred that is preventing you from being more successful. And when you're there, just say there. They'll say there. And I'll ask them how old they are, what they're doing, what was said, what was done that's preventing them from going forward.
Right.
Once you get the initial act, you have to eliminate it. You have to get them to release it and let it go. I work with therapists, I work with counselors, and I asked some counselors to write a letter for me, because I was going down to Fort Hood after they had the shooting down there. And there were 2 female counselors, and when I got the letter, I started to laugh, because they would send me some of their patients, and if they had a patient that they had difficulty helping resolve their problems, they would say, it's time to send him to the Terminator. And when I read that, I really started to laugh. And that's what they'd call me. They call me the Terminator, because the patient could have been seeing them for a year, 2 years, 3 years. It didn't matter. But once I saw them, they would have maybe 1 or 2 sessions after that, and it was over.
Yeah.
They didn't have to go back.
Yeah, I guess it's a little disappointing for someone who's spent years in therapy to know that they just need two sessions with you and it's done. No, I wanted you on the show because I 100% believe that people stand in their own way when it comes to their success.
They do.
And in fact, I've, again, had multiple conversations with people who've said, I've had a business now for 10 years and, you know, it's the hills and valleys. I'm in a valley and I can't get myself back up. I would suggest that there's something else going on,
yes,
and to try you if they were open to it. Do you have people that come in and are 100% just change their mind? They don't want to do it anymore. They don't want to do it at all, and walk away.
Walk away from me? What I do?
Yeah, well, do you have people that come into your office, start talking about it with you, and for whatever reason just freak out and walk out?
No. Now, I've had people come into the office, and when I demonstrate EFT, the tapping technique, I always tell them on telephone that we're going to be doing some tapping that was developed by a psychologist. And I will tell them on the phone, it's a little silly progression, and that most people laugh at me when I demonstrate it. So men will do it, women will not do it. When I say men will do it, they'll say to me, this is silly, I'm not going to do it. Let's just do the hypnosis.
Yeah.
And I'll stand up and I'll say, well, we have to do the EFT because you have to take care of the body as well as the mind. And they'd say, no, just do the hypnosis. So I'll get up and I'll start walking towards the door, and I'll open up the door. And they'll ask me, what are you doing? I said, well, you don't want to do what I'm telling you to do, so I can't help you.
Yeah.
If you go to the doctor, you can't tell the doctor what you want him to do for you. You went to the doctor to get his knowledge and experience to help you overcome whatever problem you have.
Right.
If you don't want to do what I say, can't help you.
And I'm so sorry. I'm looking at the clock here. We are out of time. I'm so sorry that we're out of time.
I'm just getting cranked up.
We need to have you back. Well, let me just stress that you need to go to the mindenhancementcenter.com. Again, give us the phone number.
817-589-7407.
Yeah, so you've been listening to DFW Spotlight on Business, and this is Heidi Hardy. I have been in I don't know, entranced might be the right word. I've been transfixed on this with Ed, and I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Next week's show is amazing as well. Donnie Bovine, who has recently become a new business owner, and he will talk to us about that. Our thought for the week is 20 years from now, you'll be more disappointed by the things that you didn't do than by the ones you did do. So throw off the bowline, sail away from the safe harbor, catch the trade winds in your sails, explore, dream, and discover. And that's Mark Twain. I love that. So this is Heidi Hardy with Ed Joseph. Thank you for being our guest. I'm so sorry we ran out of time.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great. You can watch this on demand on my website, reallifemediallc.com, or you can go to live stream and on air media. Thank you again. Don't forget to live your real life passionately.